And I welcome back to the station a friend of the RGV, John Sharp, System Chancellor for Texas A&M. The clock is ticking. You told me via text it's the end of the month, right, John? At the end of the month, that's it, as far as being Chancellor, right?
Yeah, June 30th is the last day.
June 30th. So what you going to do with all your time now that you get all your time? Are you going to go fishing or hunting? What are you going to do?
No, I'm not one of those guys that puts Bermuda shorts on and puts black socks on and goes play golf. I'm starting a consulting company in Austin with a friend of mine, and so I can't. I want to die on the job. I don't want. I'm not very good at retirement.
Good. Yeah. There's no such thing as retirement from the work of ministry, and your ministry has been public service all these years. I was reminded how you were like everything in Austin, right? You were a state lawmaker for the House and then Senate, right? And then you did the Railroad Commission, comptroller as well, right? And of course, the System Chancellor for Texas A&M. How many years at Texas A&M, Chancellor?
This has been about 14, which is way more than I signed up for. When I took the job, I said, I want to do one thing. I want to get a law school. And I figured it would take 3 years to do it, either that or if it didn't happen in 3 years, give up. And we got to law school in about 6 months. And so it just sort of all snowballed from there. One of the early things actually was my desire to start a campus in the Rio Grande Valley, and that's where the McAllen campus came from.
Yeah. That's a great story related to that. If you want to tell working people headed to work right now, how our Texas A&M, McAllen, Texas zip code, how that came about.
Well, I mean, I would go to parades down there, and I mean, we always had, extension service. We always had AgriLife Research, the Westlaco, everything involved in agriculture, but we never had any academic things. We had agency things, but we didn't have things that were related to Texas A&M University. And I got a little tired I would go down there and I'd see, I'd go to the Charo parade, I'd go to all these parades, and I'd see the wrong colored hats on people. And so I said, and there need to be some maroon hats on folks.
Yeah.
And as you know, I mean, I have to say that highest percentage of my friends in the state live in the Rio Grande Valley. I've always been, just a warm place in my heart there.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to me that we ought to have, a presence, an A&M presence there. And so we created that campus, got approval with the coordinating board. And that campus is very different from a regional university like the one we have in Laredo or the one we have in Kingsville or Corpus and other places, because that campus is directly tied to Texas A&M University. So all of the kids that go and get degrees from the McAllen campus get an A&M degree, get the same Aggie ring that you would get if you went to College Station.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that was created, we knew we'd start small, but that would fill a need for kids in the Rio Grande Valley that maybe needed to stay closer to home rather than go halfway across the world to college. There was a lady that came up to me one time, and she was it's actually a student, and she said that she came to Texas A&M. And she had lied to her mother and told her mother that she was going to school in Kingsville because her mother would have never allowed her to go all the way across the world to College Station, Texas. And so it wasn't, and she even told me, said, when they'd have homecoming, she would invite her mother up to Kingsville for homecomings and all this kind of stuff. And I told her, I said, you got to be kidding me. She said, no. And the reason I found out about this is she called me and she said, my mother, I want to introduce you to my mother. And so she came to graduation, and there's, 10,000 people
Yeah.
in this auditorium. And she goes, and her mother is going, "What are you talking about?" Said, once you pass Kingsville, she said, we're not quite there yet. And her mother was just flabbergasted. And so
Yeah.
I said, that ought not happen anymore. We ought to have the ability to do this in the Rio Grande Valley.
Thank God that we have the McAllen campus as well. Texas A&M System Chancellor John Sharp, who will be leaving as chancellor here at the end of the month. We'll be starting some consulting work. We got Glenn Hager, the comptroller of Texas. He'll be taking over after that. And thank you, your leadership and local leadership, making the McAllen, Texas A&M campus directly linked to Texas A&M in College Station. Just top of mind, Chancellor, some of the offerings, some of the degrees, we're just a few days removed from the most recent graduation period. What comes to mind when you think of, or McAllen, Texas A&M, some of the sciences that they're learning, and of course the campus is also expanding. Will be expanding quite a bit over the next couple of years. To kind of review some of that.
Yeah, the first expansion is the nursing building that is going to be built, and that's going to be nursing, but it's also going to be the vet school. The vet school is going to take about 5,000 square feet of that building, and they are there to do a bunch of research, whether it concerns the flies coming up from screwworm flies coming up from Mexico, or whatever, zoonotic research and all this kind of stuff. The vet school is going to have a presence. And one of the things that I am confident is going to happen is we'll start moving agencies in there. For instance, one of the agencies that's a perfect fit in my mind is the AgriLife Research, and allow those researchers that might be in Westico and different places scattered around the valley to be in one place near the professors that are going to be teaching some of these courses, and letting the students have the ability to be near them. So the new building on the west side of our McAllen Higher Education Center is about a 61,000 square foot building for nursing classrooms and study areas, about a 10,000 square foot clinical stimulation center, and then the space for the veterinary clinic and research laboratory. So it'll start with traditional Bachelor of Science in Nursing degrees, which is a 2-year, 5-semester program. Expects to eventually enroll about 50 students per semester, helping the Valley to meet that shortage. The first cohort is going to be 24 students, I think, and the Nursing Education Research Building is supposed to be open by the spring of 2026. So it'll be the same high quality programs that exist in College Station. It's simply going to be in McAllen. And as I also pointed out, the vet school is going to use 5,000 square feet of that One Health program as well.
The most recent graduation, how many students do you know at the McAllen?
The graduation number, there were 27 degrees awarded in 23 and 24, with a graduation rate of about 56%, which is about the same as our regional universities. 6-year graduation rate is typical measures based on first time, full time. Total enrollment is 430 students right now. The majors are ag economics, biomedical sciences, construction sciences, education, maritime business administration, multidisciplinary engineering, technology, nursing, public health, human resource development. And then there's a non-degree certification program called the Agri Pharmacy Technician program that's there. So the system overall awards about 38,400 degrees, with a graduation rate of a little over 60%.
How many students do you think we'll have, like, let's say 5, 10, 20 years down the road at the McAllen site?
It depends on how many buildings we can get built, the new administration can get built. I mean, this is one of those deals where if you build it, they will come, and that's what we said at the beginning. And we build a building, and it's full within 6 months.
Excellent.
So what this university, what this center has, that most of the regional universities in the A&M system don't have, is this center has access to the Permanent University Fund. And so they have the ability, they don't have to necessarily get everything from the legislature to build a building like the nursing building did that's going up right now. This can be actions by the Chancellor and the Board of Regents.
Excellent. Great to hear. I'm pretty much out of time, but I do want to love on our Brownsville family. A quick update, status report on the big training center there at the Port of Brownsville that's going to help out with the expanding economy down here.
Yeah, we started off in the Port of Brownsville with some certificated degrees. There are about 10,000 of those certificated degrees, and what we found was that there's a huge demand for workforce development training. And so what that center is and what that building is that we're building there is a very flexible operation. You get, for whatever industry that chooses to come in, whether it's LNG, no matter what it is, we can put the kind of instructors in that building to match whatever it is that industry needs to be trained. We don't simply say, okay, we're going to train plumbers, and if you don't want plumbers, tough luck. That's not the way we operate that. The way we operate that center is whatever the industry wants, we'll find the professors and the instructors that'll go down there and train them to your specifications. We'll do what business wants, and that's going to help the port and help the Rio Grande Valley, particularly Cameron County, really grow, I think.
The economic transformation that we've seen down here over the past 30 years, Texas A&M a big part of it as well. Chancellor John Sharp, dear friend, thank you for loving the Rio Grande Valley in deeds and not just promises over these many years. And thank you for setting up our A&M campus down here. We wish you the best. Please stay in touch, brother.
Well, thank you, Sergio. Rio Grande Valley has always been a special place in my heart, and Manny Vela has done a wonderful job there. Alonzo Cantu has always been one of my heroes down there, and Chewy Hinaho. So you just have a wonderful group of community leaders down there that make it easy to work with.
Thank you, Chancellor. We'll talk soon.